I don't know if you're aware or not, but recently a great act of blasphemy and sacrilege took place in Golden Gate Park in San Francisco, California, where protesters toppled a statue of St. Junípero Serra. In response to this eruption of evil and mob violence, Archbishop Salvatore Cordileone gathered Catholic faithful from his archdiocese on June 27th to pray the rosary and to perform an exorcism over the spot where such evil occurred. I highly encourage you to watch a moving video of the Archbishop's actions and words. It's entitled Archbishop's Rosary for St. Junípero Serra. I quote his words. He says, "An act of sacrilege occurred here. That is an act of the evil one. So we've gathered here to pray to God, to ask the saints their intercession, above all our Blessed Mother, in an act of reparation, asking God's mercy upon us and our whole city, that we might turn our hearts back to Him. We came together to pray the Rosary as Our Lady asked us. The Rosary has the power even to change history. History has shown that it can change the course of history. We bind together in prayer and fasting and penance, but especially in the prayer of the Rosary. So we came together to pray the Rosary and then to offer the prayer of exorcism, the St. Michael prayer, because evil is present here. This is the activity of the evil one, who wants to bring down the church, who wants to bring down all Christian believers. So we offer that prayer and bless this ground with holy water, so that God might purify it, sanctify it, and that we in turn might be sanctified." I thank God for such a good shepherd over there in San Francisco. If only we could have more such shepherds serving Christ and His one bride, the Catholic Church. I don't want to spend much time on the obvious wickedness of such mob violence that is perpetrating such terrible acts around the country. We already know what such evil can do, because such mob violence led to the crucifixion of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Luke 23 says, "But they were urgent, demanding with loud voices that He, Jesus, should be crucified. And their voices prevailed. So Pilate gave sentence that their demand should be granted." Such evil only prevails where you have Pilates, that is, cowards, whether in the church or the civil government, leaders who are pushovers, spineless, those who do not pray or live by conviction, those who are weak. The worst scourge we can possibly have is to have cowards for leaders, those who surrender the good of the church, the diocese, the parish, the country, the state, the city, the county, to the fury of the hellish mob. If we return to our St. Junípero Serra, and examine his life, we quickly dispel these ridiculous accusations of his person being a symbol of white supremacy or oppression of the Indians. So who is Junípero Serra? He is a Franciscan priest and missionary who was born in 1713 in Mallorca, Spain, and he died on the feast of our patron, St. Augustine, August 28th, in 1784. Until he was 35, Junípero spent most of his time in the classroom, first as a student of theology, and then as a professor. He was also famous for his preaching, but suddenly he gave it all up and followed his godly desire to convert native peoples in the New World. Our Lady of Guadalupe brought him here. Literally, the ship was called Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe, and he took two books with him: the Bible and the Mystical City of God, a book by Venerable Mary Greda about the life of the Blessed Virgin Mary. So arriving by ship at Veracruz, Mexico in 1750, he and a companion walked 250 miles to Mexico City. There he prayed and offered Mass at the shrine of Our Lady of Guadalupe. That was the beginning of his close to 35 years of missionary work in the New World. On the way of the walk to Mexico City, Junípero's left leg became infected by an insect bite, and this would remain a cross, sometimes life-threatening, for the the rest of his life. For 18 years, Junípero worked in central Mexico and in the Baja Peninsula. Then he set out with Jose de Galvez, the civil official and inspector general, for present-day Monterey, California. The first mission founded after the 900-mile journey north was San Diego in 1769. That year, a shortage of food almost forced them to cancel their expedition. Vowing to stay with the local people, Junípero and another friar began a novena in preparation for St. Joseph's feast day, March 19th, the scheduled day of departure, if the situation did not change for the better. On that day, the relief ship arrived. In all, Junípero founded 9 of the California missions. He baptized over 6,000 Indians. He was a builder of the state of California. He was an exemplary model of a selfless evangelizer. He learned the language of the Indians, even washed their feet. And he never joined others in calling them savages, barbarians, or wild Indians. Father Junípero referred to them as Gentiles, thus emphasizing his missionary and religious purpose to save souls. There was an instance where some Indians had set fire to the mission of San Diego, and Father Serra pleaded for their lives, saying, "Let the murderer live so that he can be saved, which is our reason for coming here." Father Serra made a long trip, walking on a cancerous leg from California to Mexico City to implore the Viceroy on behalf of the Indians who were being oppressed by the military commander back in California. Junípero arrived at the point of death. He obtained what he sought, a regulation protecting the Indians and the missions. Father Serra insisted that the Spanish were not in California for gold or land, but for the good of the native peoples. Father Serra's all-consuming desire in all his prayers and labors was the eternal salvation of souls. This was his primary purpose in coming to America. Certainly he cared for the temple needs of the Indians and practiced both the corporal and spiritual works of mercy, but what good is the good of the body without the good of the soul? And it is especially here where St. Junípero Serra calls us to conversion today. We must thirst for the salvation of souls. That's why Jesus went to the cross. Whatever is not found in Jesus Christ is ultimately lost. Whoever is not found in Jesus Christ is ultimately lost. There is only one Savior. There is only one true faith. Jesus Christ alone saves. There is no such thing as multiple truths, multiple and contradictory truths. That's your truth, not mine. There is only one truth, and his name is Jesus Christ. Sadly, we often do today what the gatherings did in today's gospel. Did you hear the last line of the gospel? Thereupon the whole town came out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, they begged him to leave their district. The swineherds and the townspeople were more concerned about the loss of pigs, the destruction of their local economy, than they were about the true good of these two demoniacs and the salvation of their souls. In like manner, many leaders, shepherds, officials today are more interested in appeasing modern-day demoniacs than they are in bringing them to truth and salvation, and taking time, suffering, personal cost, care to bind and heal their true wounds, wounds of the heart. Most of them never had fathers. You can throw a bone to a dog, but it doesn't work with a human being. A human being is made for love, for charity, for the eternal, for God. The greatest deprivation is not to be shown Jesus Christ. That's the greatest injustice. Not to be given Jesus Christ. God have mercy. In the words of John Paul I, the day before his death, it is Jesus Christ we must present to the world. Outside of this,